Hello, dear friends. In this lesson, we're going to try to install Anaconda distribution for Windows. So let's get started. Now, you may encounter throughout your life more than one way to use Python programming language. Um, that's a good thing, right? You should always have options. In this particular course, we're going to examine the Anaconda IDE and Jupyter Notebook and Jupyter Lab. And that's all within the IDE. So, of course, you might be saying, what is IDE? Well, IDE are tools that combine different programming languages that programmers can use when writing computer programs. Now, later on in the lesson, you're going to have a much deeper understanding of what I mean as we're using Anaconda. But the interface is just the intermediary applications that allow us to use a programming language directly in the IDE. We will be able to use Jupyter Notebook and the Jupyter Lab interface from within the Anaconda distribution. Therefore, we will first download Anaconda, then we will finalize the installation process by activating the Jupyter Notebook and Jupyter Lab that's waiting for us, just chomping at the bit. It's ready and waiting in Anaconda. Okay, so let's get started without wasting any more time. Our first job will be to open our internet browser, and I'll just use Google Chrome. So I'll click yes, my browser opens. Now I'm typing Anaconda in my browser to download Anaconda. So when you hit the enter key, Anaconda.com comes up. It is the world's most popular data science platform after all. So just by clicking on this link, we can enter Anaconda's site. And that'll take you to a screen like this. Now we need to find the download option for Anaconda. And actually, here's a Get Started section up here at the top right. So let's click it. Now, there's a few different options about Anaconda service products. So just click on the Download Anaconda Installer option. See, so after clicking, this is the screen that you got. And here we've got to choose according to our operating system. Now, if you don't happen to know what operating system you're running or the version of it, we can always find out what system version we're running just by saying show processor information from the start menu, usually 64-bit. Now, since my computer is 64-bit, we'll click on 64-bit from the Windows section and perform the download. All right, so that starts the download process. So here we are waiting. And that'll complete the download. All right, so now let's go to the downloads to continue the installation process through that file that you downloaded. So we can enlarge the screen. All right, so we're running the setup file that we downloaded from here. So let me just get this down. And let's see, now we will need to apply a few actions. So first of all, statements about the contract. And I'll just click on agree. So in other words, we'll accept. And let's continue. So it asks, who are you establishing it for? It's just going to be me. So you will also be me. Well, no, you won't be me, but all right, just click it. Anyway, let's continue. Here is a directory and a file path. So it's more logical to use a directory given here, and I really do recommend you not to change it. Now, when we say next in advanced settings, two options are presented to us. But you know what? That's not going to be that much of a head scratcher. Don't worry about the first option. Second option just refers to the predefined Python version when using Anaconda. So for the latest installation, we call install. See, the installation process starts, and we'll wait for a bit depending on your computer and my computer, actually. It might take a little while longer. So I'll just say next. Now, here we are presented with an IDE called PyCharm Pro. So remember, I asked earlier, what does IDE mean? Well, it calls interfaces that makes our work easier when using programming languages. So here we will use Jupyter Notebook and Jupyter Lab. Now these are also located in Anaconda, not PyCharm Pro, even though it's offering us this addition. Now, we are just going to be looking at data science and artificial intelligence. So that means that we will be doing this interactively. So we choose to work with Jupyter Notebook and Jupyter Lab interfaces. That also happen to be within Anaconda. So we will click Next and complete the installation just by clicking Finish. Cool. So after completing the installation, it'll direct us to a web page like this. Now, we don't need to do anything here, so we can just close these pages. But now we can go ahead and see how we can access Anaconda that we've installed. There are various ways for this. I'm going to show you the most difficult, and I will explain the other. So right now, just open any folder. I'm going to enlarge the screen to make it look a little larger. Anyway, it'll be more clear for you to focus. So see here the section on the left that shows us the file paths. I'll click on this computer and type Anaconda in the search section. So here we're going to try to find Anaconda Navigator. Then we click on it, and our Anaconda is, whoa, it's waking up like it's becoming active, and now we're just waiting for it to open fully. Cool. So now the Anaconda Navigator is open. You can see this IDE and interfaces, that there are more than one interface, yeah? So there is data lore. There are interfaces such as Jupyter Lab and Jupyter Spider and Jupyter Notebook. Now, we're pretty much going to be sticking to Jupyter Notebook and Jupyter Lab, but it's always good to know what else is going on, right? Now, let's look at some of the other services of Anaconda. This is the environment part, and this is the place where the installation of modules and library institutions will be done. There's also learning and community sections. There's always documents and learning section that you can look at later, of course, not while I'm here. Also some variety of events and news in the community section if you're interested. But now we're going to go back home and run our Jupyter Notebook. So let me show you this. If we just hover over Jupyter Notebook and click Launch, that's going to direct us to the interface. All right, so once our interface is open, we will be able to continue our work with Python programming language over here. So you can also try the same interface opening process with Jupyter Lab. But I do want to explain a little bit about how we can access these interfaces in a different way. And it might be more easy for you later. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, you can enter the Start menu, write Anaconda Navi. Now, in order not to write it every time, we'll just pin it to the taskbar. So that it'll come in here, and again, we'll go to Start for Jupyter Notebook, our interface that we will use most frequently, and look at that, it's now in the taskbar. So let's close all the tabs and try to open our interfaces again, and sure enough, they close, and when we press the Anaconda icon, you see how it all works. So we'll wait for it to open. Okay, cool. So now our main screen has arrived We can choose what we want to from here, as I've explained above. All right, so let's click on Jupyter Notebook icon, and we're going to start to use it. You see how that opens? Very cool. So that's it. We've learned how to install the Anaconda distributor on Windows and how we can open this distributor and activate our interfaces within it. So in the next lesson, we're going to examine the Jupyter Notebook. All right, so I hope to see you then. Until then, have a nice day.